We've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in our day, but really outside of that, not a lot of shared role-playing experience in our group. But until recently, you have started playing the Star Wars RPG Edge of the Empire separately from myself, so I haven't really heard much about this other than some rumblings.
Yes.
So how we're going to start the show this week is, in theme with our Star Wars month, with Rogue One coming out at the end of this week. Tell us a little bit about what that experience is like compared to D&D, I guess in one sense from the actual game perspective, and then in another sense from the group dynamic.
Yes, and because honestly, both of them are unbelievably different.
All right.
All right, so
excited.
let's go start with the game.
This is, just so you don't know, if you don't know, this is the Fantasy Flight published Edge of the Empire. Takes place in the when?
I think technically you can go around, but we're right around, we're like Rogue One era.
Okay.
More or less. For our story, we're not too far connected into the at this current point Death Star and whatnot. Though we have joked around if we see some people that look like our characters in Rogue One in the background, we'd be like, "We're canon, we're canon," which is actually a really bad sign because there's some things in there that you don't want to be canon.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Well, before I begin, we should explain that there are actually currently 4, but really 3 Star Wars RPGs from Fantasy Flight: Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny. Pretty much, if you choose which one you want to do, depending on what you want your group mostly to be. Edge of Empire is really if you want to be more like Han Solo, the bounty hunter or the colonist, not really the Jedi or the military. Age of Rebellion, if you want to be more about the rebellion, and Force and Destiny if you want more Jedi stuff. But continuing back, we chose...
They do all share like very similar mechanics.
Yeah, I think they still use the same dice and everything. It's just that really you're going to see more of the core mechanics revolve around being in the Outer Rim worlds for Edge of Empire, and not really your character's not going to... While you may be Force sensitive, you're not going to be really like...
You're not the dude from the Force Unleashed video game where you're picking up X-Wings and TIE fighters and throwing them.
In fact, I'm pretty sure even if you use a lightsaber, like, unless you are a Jedi, you do a roll and see if you kill yourself. Something like that.
Okay.
So that, just to give a background of which one, in case you do pick up a Star Wars one and get a little confused about where I'm coming from. So this is my brother and his friend, who you've seen on the show many times in our playbacks, Mark, decided to start this campaign.
Mark is the friend, Matt is your
my
brother. You've seen both of them.
And my brother's actually the game master in this scenario. Very interesting compared to you. But we'll get to that one in the group aspect. And they actually started with 2 other people, one who I knew from college, one who I didn't know until this. And I joined partway through, and they actually said, because I was talking with Mark, and he's like, we have a pilot, technically like an NPC, who is actually a Gungan named Garlic Girly Nards, who they actually injured because, like, he's so stupid. He's addicted to drugs. And I was like, I'll join and be a pilot. That sounds cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. So I actually it's really cool. I took the robot, in essence. But my whole story, I'm more like, I'm forgetting his name.
IG-88? No, General Grievous?
Yeah, because I'm actually a cyborg, and my whole backstory is I'm trying to find out my origin, but at the same time hide. So I'm like, I'm really excited. And think
You're like
really
the
cool.
Jason Bourne of the droid.
Sort of, but you wouldn't know in our campaign,
Okay.
at least at this point. But what's funny is, so I built my character mostly because of our D&D story. I'm like, I'm going to build this one not really, combat-heavy gunner and stuff. I'm going to be the pilot, so I'm going to be, you don't think of Wash from Firefly as the guy who's, shooting and stuff. He's the guy who's more thinking and in the ship and stuff. So I built sort of like that. Though my guy's more of a tough, every man for himself kind of guy. Not as kind as Wash.
Okay.
Turns out most of our group are like, none of them are combat heavy.
Could be a problem.
We're all like really good at sneaking and stuff. And it turned out in one scenario we actually someone triggered pretty much 23 bounty hunters to attack. We only lived because we threw like this drug we got early on into a ventilation system and knocked everyone out. It was really cool. And I may have started killing off everyone.
While they were asleep?
Yeah, to make sure there were no witnesses.
Do you have alignments in this RPG or no?
No, and the way this RPG works, you make your character, and most of that is mostly the same. But in Well, I guess it sort of is in Dungeons and Dragons, but in this there's like a literal talent tree, where you like you get like usually like 10 XP maybe a match, and you can like level it up, but you can't buy this until you buy the one above, and you can get new abilities like that, and they're weird paths, so maybe you can only get this if you go here, here, then here, or here, and they get more expensive.
Okay.
So it's not like Dungeons and Dragons where it's sort of just like you level up, you got this.
Right.
And as far as I know, it's not like you're forced to choose. Like I think, like I'm gonna probably choose. I mean, I can either choose Beastmaster or Duelist. I think it's called for the Ranger when we get far enough.
Okay.
But this is more. It feels much more RPG-ish.
A little more
in that
video
sense.
gamey.
Yes. But the weird thing is in Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of the choices you make, I'll say I want to strike the dragon. We'll say.
Good choice.
I'm gonna roll my d20. And I'm going to have a number, and you're going to have a number.
Right.
And you compare the numbers. Or even if I say I jump a ledge, you'll think of how difficult it is, and I'm sure you have a guide of what number that passed or whatnot.
Right. Easy, medium,
The way
hard.
this works is you have a skill. So let's say I'm trying to intimidate you. I look at my intimidate skill, and it will be like 3 green dice. They're not numbered; they're symboled. And positive dice have either successes or advantages. Negative dice have disadvantages or failures. And you add up your total positive and negative, roll them, and see what you get. And the opposites cancel out. So you get this really weird thing of being like, I failed, but I got 6 advantages. So it'd be like, well, you missed him, but the shot reflected and like hit someone else. Like it becomes such a weird storytelling game that becomes like you had to freeform so much more. It becomes really weird, especially there are these yellow die and red die. They're 12-sided, and they pretty much each one has one symbol called despair or triumph. It's like a super success or super failure.
Okay.
And our group is disturbingly good. Like, there's no reason the odds make sense. We roll a triumph always, and it's just like my brother's just like, you failed, but with a triumph. Oh my god. All right, so. You call because we got one of the things is we got some stormtroopers to call for an escort because they didn't know we were bad guys yet, or enemies of them. Like you called them, but it turned out this old lady also appeared who's a Jedi, so they started engaging her. It's just all this weird stuff happens like that.
That's interesting because I have read one of the recommended techniques for D&D for critical misses is to kind of, or even lower misses, is to kind of do that sort of thing. So it's not as much of you just failed and you can't do it, but like, well, you succeeded, but when you were unlocking the door or whatever, a monster heard you and came out or something. I do think that adds, I like that kind of...
It's good in some senses, but then like my brother's like, I don't even know what to do for you each time. It's like every time I have to do something really good and really bad.
Yeah.
And then there's also force points. At the beginning of each match, you roll a 100, technically number generator, but roll a 100-sided die.
Got
They
it.
don't include it. But to see whether
Sold
anyone's
separately.
obligations trigger. It's sort of like everyone has, they give you, when you make a character, you have obligations. Like, for example, my robot character is to find his past and also to hide from the Imperial Army because, he doesn't want to be discovered. He is a prototype, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But like in D&D, you can think of the equivalent of my character would be go out and find the missing person.
Right.
And make something. But it's like
Your
your
backstory.
character's backstories and things. And if you roll them, which we haven't yet, once again we just always keep missing. The game master would put something in like we meet a bounty hunter searching for me, or maybe we find a clue to. It's sort of like what we like. You know how we mentioned one of the things we liked about the D&D starter was that our character was really integrated with the story. It's almost like a way to force that.
Mm-hmm. No pun intended.
Yes. So I do sort of like that, and it definitely works, especially if it's hard for you to do. I think it's not as bad for you because if you like, at least for my case, like I gave you plenty of leeway room to put whatever for Orion's situation, so to speak, in D&D. It's better. It is better if you have someone like Ivan who didn't really give you much. So I think you have to make up something for him, which we'll see soon enough, I'm sure.
So it sounds like it forces the DM or GM
and the players really
to come, maybe even come up with something not necessarily when they were ready for it, or so it shakes things up a lot.
Right. And then after you do that, though, you actually roll a die. Each person rolls this die to see how many light side and dark side points are. Pretty much, there's a pool of these points, and you can guess the GM uses dark side, the other side uses the light side, and becomes the other one use it, and to add the really good or bad die to a roll. So pretty much make it, you know what? It's harder now. I mean, I don't know why the DM can't just add it on his own. Like, it's sort of weird to me, like, because it's like a gamey, but it's something that's not really like a score gamey thing, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
But we use it more to make fun of it, just be like, you know what? Light side. Because I want to flip a dark side because I want this to fail. Will, why do you want this to fail?
What's your character's name?
My character's name is, well, it's RX-78, so we just call him Rex.
Love it. All right. So in terms of overall,
So it's definitely
gameplay-wise.
It's definitely weird because I'll get to the group, but it's more. It definitely feels. It's definitely, if you don't like numbers, this is the one to go for because we barely do any, like, there is math and I guess counting damage and numbers and stuff and looking at like your armor values, but like you're never thinking like, oh, that's 13 plus my 6 agility plus. You're thinking,
right.
Oh, I roll 3 green dice. Plus, we found this program that's really nice that calculates how many dice we roll. It was really nice.
So like an app?
Yeah, like
cool.
for a computer. So that makes it really nice. But the groups, that's when things just go take a so left. Like if the games are different, because when you sit down, you have a binder. You have a plan, and our group, honestly, I feel plays like you would expect a regular Dungeons and Dragons group to play, more or less, outside the Drinking Torrent.
Right. You guys pretty much are saying, let's go to the dungeon, let's do this, let's follow the path.
The Drinking Torrent would be mild in our campaign. Like, we found a gay robot which would only tell us information if I did a twirl. And like we said, we took out all these bodyguards by knocking them out with these drugs that we got.
It's just the three of you?
4.
There's 4 people. Okay.
And not including the game master.
Oh, okay.
And like it's sort of weird because sometimes like I was really happy with that because I felt like I could be in character because I don't want any witnesses, so I was killing all of them. They're like, really, you do it? I'm like, yeah, we gotta take them all out. So, but like other times, I'm like, I don't know how to act, and we split up a lot. Like, you know how we never split up in D&D?
Yeah.
We split up all the time. It'll be like, all right, we're gonna focus on you two now, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing work now. It's very interesting. It's so much more lax and like wild, and like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Does most of that come from Matt or the players?
It's Matt combined with the fact that the dice can just, like I said, super positive and negative have to happen at the same time. I will end with this, just tell you where we are now.
Okay.
Because it's post-Thanksgiving, because why not? We have come across a planet, so to speak, of giant turkeys. In a civil war with cybernetic versions of themselves.
Doesn't get much more Star Wars than that.
So if you wanted to know how crazy and random, there's your bar.
Well, if you want to try Edge of the Empire out for yourself, it's out there. We sell it on our site.
I'd love to hear your guys' opinions if you've played the Star Wars RPG, how the dice have been different for you, if you've played D&D or Pathfinder, what your characters are, because I'm very curious since this is specifically the Edge of the Empire, if you played a different one, especially because, like I said, we've had that old lady Jedi. She appeared before. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, have you had Jedi appear or Sith Lords appear in the non-Force and Destiny? How do you deal with them? Do you just run? Do you actually make sense that you can beat them?
Yeah. Let us know.